So this is going to be a little introduction to everything that's going on here in our site. And the main question that we're going to address right now as an introduction is, what is Hasidus? What is Hasidic philosophy? Now, the truth is I wouldn't really call it just a philosophy, because that's only one aspect of what it is. I would say that Hasidic philosophy, or Hasidus, is a science. I'd say it's an art. I'd say it's a philosophy. And it's a way of life. And really it's something higher than any of these things. It's this point that can be brought into any of these levels. Just a certain approach to everything. To looking at the world and to living in the world. To looking at yourself and to everything. So to try to explain a little bit this point, we'll begin with an analogy that's given. That's a little story. Somebody once asked a sage, what's the difference between Maimonides and Aristotle? Maimonides is a famous Jewish philosopher and rabbi that wrote many works explaining the Torah and Torah law, and also very familiar with philosophical works, and wrote The Guide to the Perplexed, a famous work of philosophy from that time. And then Aristotle, a famous Greek philosopher, who was not religious in that way. Probably he had some pagan religions. I don't know if he was an atheist, but definitely not that type of a believing man in one God. So the answer the sage gave this person about the difference between these two men and their approach is like two people that are trying to draw a circle, a perfect circle, and find its center. So the first one begins by trying to draw the circle, which is very difficult. It's very difficult to draw a perfect circle, especially unaided. And then to find its center is also very difficult, even if you would get a perfect circle. So it's nearly impossible to do it in that way. The other man began with the center point of the circle, and once you have that center point, it's very easy to draw any size circle you want around it. So this is what Hasidic philosophy is trying to do for us. That in everything, in philosophy and in everything in life, we can approach things from the outside, or we can approach things from the inside. And when we approach things from the outside, we're impaired. In the case of Maimonides and Aristotle, the idea of the outside of the circle represents having a correct understanding of all of the natural phenomena and studying all of the external sciences, and from that trying to deduce the center point, which is the inner truth behind everything that makes everything run. And that's very difficult. But if you begin by finding that center point, then it's very easy from there to see how that applies to everything around it, and it sets everything up very easily. What this does for us is something that I call living from the inside out. And if I was going to coin a phrase to describe what a Hasidic philosophy is, I would say it's living from the inside out. The first thing that Hasidic philosophy tries to do is to help you find your inner self, that inner point that's within you, who you really are and what you really are. And once you find that center point, then to try to take that point and bring it out to all the levels around it, to draw all those circles around it so that everything, all the different aspects and layers of your life are all in line with that point, aligned with your inner self. That means your social life, your business life, your interpersonal relationships, your family life, all these things, when they're in line with the center point, they're all more perfect and they're all more successful, and also they're all in line with each other. And so then they all work together and everything is unified and everything is coordinated and it all blends together to this perfect symphony. When it's unified, it all becomes like one powerful machine, because hidden in every single person is like a powerhouse of infinite power. But in order for it to be released, everything has to be lined up properly. Once a group of young students came to the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, and they asked him, what is a Rebbe? What is a Hasidic master, leader? What is his job? What is his role? So he explained to them that every single person has this infinite energy that they're connected to, like this powerhouse that creates this infinite energy. And it's connected to them, and they're sitting like in a dark room, and there's a light switch that's connected to this energy. And my job is to put their hand on the switch, so that if they want to, they can access that energy, they can turn it on. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to, and this is what Hasidic philosophy and Hasidic thought is trying to do, to help every person find the switch that connects them to this inner store of energy. Then if they want, when they want, if they want, they can bring it out. And so, like we said, when we say Hasidic philosophy, we mean much more than a philosophy is just an intellectual pursuit, like some philosophy class. It's a whole way of life. It's a whole approach to everything. And it begins with finding the essence in yourself and bringing that out in yourself. And then, from there, finding the essence in everything around you, and everything in the world, and every person around you. And when you find the essence in everything around you, then you're also able to bring that essence out when you interact with that thing. And what that does is that then you bring out the best and the most power from everything you interact with, or every person you interact with. Then you're your best because you're in line with your essence, and then everything that you do with everything around you is done in the most powerful and direct and most beautiful way. When everything is in line like this, yeah, that's a truly powerful thing. The difference between when the outside is not in line with the inner point, or when it is like the difference between being tied up in a sack or having a well-fitted suit. That when you have this external thing around you that doesn't fit you right, then it traps you. But when it fits right, then it helps you. Then it expresses you. And most people are living their life in a way that they're trapping themselves. Or they're trapped, and their inner self is like trapped in their ideas and their beliefs and their interactions with people, their personality, that they know what they want, and then they see that they're not acting that way, or they're not getting what they want, or they're not. A lot of times, people know what they should be doing and what would make them successful, but then they just don't have the strength to do it, or they're afraid, their fear is crippling them, or they have these restrictions that they put on themselves, that, I can't do that, I can't do that. All these things stop the person from being liberated, from being free to really be themselves. Between these two states, this is the difference between what we call exile and redemption. This state of having your essence brought out and everything in line with that, that's what's called the state of redemption, or the state of like Mashiach, the messianic state that we're trying to bring to the whole world, the state of Geula. People become so trapped that they don't even know anymore what they really want. They start to lose touch with that. So the first thing is a journey to that inner point. Who we really are, what we really want, to find it, and to isolate it and understand it, and get it clear, free from all other distractions. And then once that's clear, not to stay in that just at that point, but to take it back out into every aspect of our life and everything in the world around us, and apply that point there, and make everything in line with that point. So it's a two-step process. First a process of going in, and then a process of going out. This is the idea that nowadays people and society and the world is still in a state of exile, meaning that they're still trapped, and sometimes even trapping themselves more. Their essence is trying to come out, they're trying to express it, but then they're not always sure who they are or what they want, and then they're not sure how to bring it out. And they have all these things that are restricting them. They're not free to really be themselves. And that limits their success, and it impairs everything. It impairs successful thinking, successful living, successful interpersonal relations, successful business. I mean, every person has this essence, this beautiful, powerful essence that should be so productive and so successful and so loved and so happy. And this is why one of the hallmarks of Hasidim and Hasidic philosophy is joy. Because when you find that inner point and you begin to bring that out, you have this boundless inner joy that comes with it also. Because you find the greatest gem that you're ever going to find, which is yourself. And you're just happy that you're you. And then everything you in life is done with taking that joy and spreading it out to everything around you. So bringing this out in yourself, this is a state of what's called a personal redemption, or personal geula. And then bringing this to the entire world around you, that's the state of the general redemption of the entire world, which will be completed with the coming of Mashiach, of the Messiah. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe said that now we're at the threshold of this state in the world, And now our job is to already begin to usher in this era and to start living like this. And now it's time that it's possible for all of us to access this and to accomplish this. And the more that we all do this individually, it will come to a certain point where it will tip the entire world also. So every single one of us, by starting to do this in our own lives, will then bring this to the entire world. And there's a certain point where it will tip. We just need to reach that tipping point, and then, boom. May it be speedily in our days.